These are the best exploits in Season 12. But which ones are actually even still worth doing and which ones even still work completely? Well, I'm going to show you. But before we get started, I'm trying to make it to 10,000 subscribers. And if you could help me get there, that would mean so much to me. Either way, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy. So far in Season 12, I've put out 6 major exploits that have in some way exploited the game to get an advantage over the other players. And while most of them were worth doing and pretty perfect at some point, at least for their purpose, whether they were useful or not, they worked pretty well. But at some point throughout Season 12, some of them have either become less reliable, have been even patched completely, and I've had a lot of questions about which ones still work, which ones don't still work, and this all comes after a update about a week from this upload, in which Sea of Thieves patched one of the biggest ones that we'd had in Season 12. So I just want to put this out there so you guys can see what does still work, what doesn't still work, and what you should be doing in terms of exploits for each trading company. Starting off first is this exploit. This was the first one that I put out during Season 12, and I might have even put it out a day or two before it came out. This exploit was pretty good, and it got you a decent amount of gold and gold hoarder reputation, and all you had to do for this exploit was go to an island, small island. It worked on a lot of them, but I chose one down in the Ancient Isles, and you vote for a gold hoarder vault, and you keep doing it until you get the map piece to show up on that island. And once you dig up the map piece, you could kill the skeletons that spawn around it and get quite a bit of loot, and you could keep repeating this pretty much as many times as you wanted to. This exploit, like I said, it works on this island, and it works on other islands, and it does still work. It has not been completely patched out. However, with a bunch of people trying it, and maybe Rare even trying to possibly patch it or mess with it a little bit, people have had different problems, like sometimes the skeletons don't spawn when you dig up the map piece, and sometimes the loot doesn't spawn under the skeletons once you kill them, and some people have problems even getting the quest to cycle to where they can repeat it. So as of the time of this video coming out, this exploit does still work, and like I said, it even works in other areas, but it has become pretty buggy, so it may not be as effective as previously thought. However, it does still work. Next up is this exploit. This exploit was used for Merchant Alliance reputation and for gold, and it was done by doing Fort of the Damned, and on the 13th wave, all you had to do was reset the island. Now, you could either do this by shooting out of a cannon or dying, and once you did that, the skeletons holding the stronghold barrels would respawn, allowing you to collect them again. This, to my knowledge at least, I haven't been able to personally test it, but from the people that I have been able to ask that have been able to test it, this has been patched. Rare patched this from, like I said, from what I've heard. Rare patched this by removing the gunpowder barrels on the 13th wave of the fort, so they're just not really there right now, or they don't respawn. Now, this is obviously bad for the exploit because it doesn't work anymore, but the bright side of this is that it's still possible to reset the islands by leaving them or dying, so any other exploits of this nature will be pretty easy to find in the future, and I don't think they really plan on patching that soon, as that's how most of their island and emergent event spawning works. The next exploit was a smaller one. It wasn't as crazy, but it had a very specific use. This exploit was used to transfer things across from session to session. Now, to my knowledge, this is the only way you could do this. So like I said, it wasn't extremely useful for a lot of things, but for this one specific thing, this is pretty much all you could use. You could do this by storing things in the mermaid statues in and around shrines and treasuries, and then diving to another session, and when you came back up, they would still be there. This one hasn't been patched, and at the time of making this video and testing this, it works just fine. So if you need to get things from session to session, this is definitely going to be your best bet. The next exploit is this one in the Devil's Roar. Now, this exploit was used for similar things to the first exploit. It was used for gold and gold hoarder reputation, and it was a little bit further removed from most of the traffic on the map, which made it a little bit safer. This exploit was done also very similar to the first exploit. It was done by going to small islands in the Devil's Roar and then voting for an Ashen gold hoarder's vault. You could keep repeating this until you got the map piece on the island you were on, and then you could dig up the map piece and kill the skeletons around it for a chance at trinkets, which sold for a decent amount and gave you a decent amount of reputation, especially when you sold them at Emissary Grade 5 and stacked a bunch of them. This exploit does still work, and it actually works a little bit more reliably than the other gold hoarder one, the one in the normal area of the map. This one still has its problems of things not spawning or people having trouble getting the quest to go on that island and people having problems with the skeletons not dropping. But when we have a big mass group of people doing this, a few people are going to have problems. That's just how it's going to go. So other than those, the few problems that you could run into, this is a good working exploit. And if you need a good working exploit for the last portion of Season 12 and you need it for gold hoarder specifically, this is probably going to be your best bet and the only one that I know of for that. Next up is for sure the most popular and insane exploit that we have seen this season. This exploit uses blunder bombs to allow someone to buy more commodities than normal, and you can go absolutely crazy with this. This was accomplished by knocking the person buying the commodities away from the trader while they were buying them, and then this for some reason allowed them to buy more. This repeated over a long period of time was probably the most insane gold exploit that we've seen this entire season, and it was also very good for merchant reputation. So yeah, like I said, the most insane exploit that we got probably this entire season, but we still have a few weeks left, so I'm not going to put it out there too hard. But sadly, the better the exploit, the faster it's going to get patched, and the quicker it gets picked up. So sadly, this one got patched out. However, I can say that people are already kind of getting around the patch, so maybe we'll be able to bring this one back before the end of the season or at the beginning of next season. But for now, you cannot do this one. And lastly, for our exploits in Season 12, this exploit involved using the Merchant Alliance lost shipments to get ship manifest quicker than normal. And while this is great for things like the commendations that not a lot of people want to get done, it was also great for gold and reputation for the Merchant Alliance. You could do this very easily by sitting east of Plunder Outpost on your ship and voting and voting and voting for the Ashen shipments until you got one that was from Marrow's Peak to Plunder Outpost. You could then pretty easily locate the final shipwreck of the Ashen lost shipment, and it would spawn pretty close to you, and it was pretty easy to spot on the horizon, granting you a ship manifest, like I said, much quicker than you'd normally be able to get one. This exploit does still work, though people have run into some problems with getting it to work. So people are having problems with actually getting the quest to bring it from Marrow's Peak to Plunder Outpost, which can happen. You can get unlucky with that, or you could be sitting in a spot where it doesn't want to give you that. If you're having that problem, just move around the map a little bit more, go back towards Plunder Outpost, go towards Marrow's Peak, move around a little bit, and it should fix it. And also people are having problems with the manifest not spawning. But what I think could be happening there is people losing track of which shipwrecks they've already explored, or possibly just having spawning bugs, because that kind of stuff can happen. So this is the only current working exploit for merchant that I've posted for Season 12. So once again, if you are looking for working exploits and you need gold and reputation for Merchant Alliance, this is going to be your best bet outside of the normal realm of quests. So here is an overall of what still works and what doesn't. And just remember that things may change or get patched very quickly, either after this video comes out because of this video, or just in the future because Rare finds out how to fix them. And remember that these exploits sometimes are a little bit buggy. So yes, they work, but sometimes it may be hard to get them to work in certain scenarios. You may have problems with things selling for certain amounts, or you may just not be able to get them to work. It just happens. They're exploits. They're not supposed to be in the game. So you could run into problems like this. If you guys think I missed anything or know of any other exploits that I haven't uploaded, please be sure to let me know in the comments below. As I said at the beginning, I'm currently trying to make it to 10,000 subscribers, and if you could help me get there, that would mean a lot to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I do truly hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out.